So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our meeting to talk about the Ireland Study Abroad program. We've got a few of you online. If you have any questions, I've opened the chat box for you guys. You can type in your questions there, and I'll see that as they pop up and try to answer them as we go. And you can certainly tell others in the class and whatnot that this is going to be recorded and it should be uploaded later this evening. So a couple of things I want to mention to you. Renee Eaton is also here. If you have a question for her, Renee can chime in and answer, give some other information that I might forget or might get wrong. Renee can correct me, so I appreciate that if she does that for me. So our goal with this, Renee started this a long time, not a long time ago, but a few years ago. She had the idea of doing this study abroad, dealing with sports science and sports medicine. So And she had contacted some folks in Ireland that might be good to work with and whatnot. So what we've kind of evolved to is developing a study abroad program that deals primarily with sports science, sports medicine. We sort of realize a lot of you are interested in clinical medicine, physical therapy, athletic training, that sort of thing. Many of you are involved in sports and interested in the sports sciences. And so that's kind of what we decided to focus on. We're going to kind of focus a little bit on sports that are not common in the U.S., which is one of the advantages of going to Ireland, specifically what's called Gaelic hurling, handball, and Gaelic football, as well as rugby. We're going to do some academic sort of visits to a couple of the universities there, the University City in Dublin and what's the other one, Renee? College City.
Sorry, I was looking at something else.
Well, two universities in Dublin, and talk a little bit about some of their athlete testing program in the way of sports science and whatnot. We will also talk to them about some of their injury prevention and treatment programs. We're going to visit some other rehabilitation clinics to look at treatment of athletic injuries and other types of injuries, and then also some development of technology and whatnot. We're also going to focus a little bit on Irish culture. Sport is a huge part of Irish culture, particularly the Gaelic games that we're going to see and talk a lot about. That's a big part of Irish culture. We'll focus a little bit on Irish history, and then also the Dublin area and some of the surrounding areas around Dublin. So when we're going to do this, we're going to do this spring of 2023, May 14th and 24th, and that is shortly after graduation. And so we'll be in Ireland for 10 days. We'll be in Dublin, Ireland. We also are putting together a trip to Northern Ireland to visit a company up there, which I'll get to in a second. There will be a 1 credit course requirement, enrollment in that 1 credit course. If you're taking 12 or more credits in the spring semester, you will not be charged extra for that. That'll just be an additional credit. And fortunately with Virginia Tech, you don't get charged for credits above that 12-hour mark. So one of the reasons we're going right after graduation is so that you don't have to pay that extra tuition. And the cost of that is going to be $3,650, a little cheaper than I first had thought, but that's going to be the cost of the 10 days. That will include the costs, include the accommodations, lodging, ground transportation to all the scheduled events and activities we're going to do, 11 different meals, basically a meal every day, and entry to scheduled tourist sites, events, and that sort of thing. What is not included in that is airfare, and right now, I checked the other day, anywhere between $800 and $1,000 for airfare. Who knows what that's going to do this spring, whether that'll drop or stay the same. Travel and health insurance, are we going to be able to cover that?
So health insurance is mandatory, and that's
okay.
part of the program fee. Travel insurance, meaning like they cover your refund your costs if you're sick, that you would purchase on your own.
Okay, so travel insurance, if you didn't hear Renee, the insurance that covers your costs if you're sick, that you'd have to purchase yourself. Other costs, things like entertainment, meals, if you want to visit something that's not on our schedule, then that you would obviously cover yourself, shopping, all those kinds of fun things. Now, where we're going to stay is a facility called the Generator Hostel in Dublin. It's in an area called Smithfield Square. It's a nice place. It is a hostel. It's not a five-star restaurant hotel. And so we plan to get there on Sunday, May 14th. So we'll have a little bit more details on this as we get a little closer. But again, arrange your own flight to get over there, arrive Sunday, May 14th, sometime during that day, and then plan to depart on Wednesday, May 24th. You are certainly welcome to come early, stay late if you want to. If you want to come early and do some other things, or stay after the 24th and do some things, you can do that. Renee and I both stayed in the Generator last time we were over there, and it's a nice place. I mean, it's a very nice place, very, very secure. Those of you that were worried about security and with the hotel and everything, it's very secure. You have to have your room key to get in the building. You also have to have your room key to get on the floor that your room is on. So it's a very secure, very safe place. And that Smithfield Square is kind of a cool place. There's a little shopping in that area, and a pub right down in the corner if you want to hear some Irish music and those sorts of things. Okay. The tentative itinerary that we're going to do, we're still kind of working on the actual daily events, but it's going to focus one on sports science. The university, we're going to visit the University College of Dublin, Dublin City University, talk to them about their programs in sports science and also sports medicine. We're going to visit the National Sports Campus to learn a little bit about the Irish sports and some of the Irish games. As far as sports medicine, we will talk a little bit about that with the two universities. We'll also visit a facility called Sport Physio Ireland, which is a rehab clinic and kind of a physical therapy clinic as best I can understand. We're also going to visit the Leinster Rugby Club and talk to their sports medicine people there. And then also the Nafiana Gaelic Games Club. And they're at Fianna, they play specialized hurling, Gaelic football, and handball. While we're there, we're also going to be involved with what's called the Experience the Gaelic Games. And there's a group there that actually goes through a little bit of the history of the Gaelic, different Gaelic sports. And then you will learn to play hurling and learn to play Gaelic football, which is their version of soccer, and then also handball as well. So that is interesting. It looks easy. Hurling looks easy. If you play baseball, tennis, it looks very easy. It's not, but you guys will figure it out. We will also do some things that deal with Irish sport and Irish culture. We plan to go to hurling and rugby matches as we can. We obviously don't know the schedule for the spring, but we will go to visit some of those and watch some matches and whatnot. Renee and I went to one of the hurling matches when we were over there this past May, and I had a blast. It was an absolute blast. It was a local event. It was about 4,000 or 5,000 people there. It wasn't many. Very small venue, and it was great. The Irish people were absolutely wonderful. They were explaining to us how we're going to, how you play the game and that sort of thing. We have a couple of tours of Dublin set up. One is a kind of a walking history tour. One of them is also a self kind of guided tour that you do on your own. One of the guides that's going to be with us for most of the trip, I believe, is a PhD, I believe, in Irish history. He is also a big sports fan. He's a runner and plays hurling and that sort of thing. So he's a big sports fan. So he can help us not only with Irish history, but also with the sports side of things. Very, very interesting guy. Great guys. A lot of fun to listen to. We're also planning to take a few trips out to the countryside and visit this. What slide is right here is called the Cliffs of Moher, and another area called the Boyne Valley, which has a lot of historical castles and burial sites and that sort of thing. And so we've not been there, but it sounds like it's just an absolutely fantastic trip.
We also have traditional Irish music and dancing.
Yes, also a traditional Irish music and dancing experience. So for those of you who always wanted to learn how to do river dance and just have not had the opportunity, you will get the opportunity if you would like. Okay. As far as the itinerary, the last thing is we are building in some things for you to do some individual things. some things that you might be interested in, whether that's just, experience relaxing around Dublin, visiting Cork, which is not about an hour and a half away from Dublin. There is also an area called the Wicklow Mountains, an area called the Giant's Causeway, which is a stone formation that I've seen on the internet. It looks great, looks really interesting to look at. There is a little area called the Howth Village, which is a short train ride from Dublin. And there's about a 4-mile cliff hike, which seems like that would be an absolute blast to do. And that's the picture there that I got off of Google. That shows a little bit of that hike on those cliffs. So we do have some time in there for you to do some things that you want to do individually. There's also some time, most days, there'll be plenty of time in the later afternoons or something in the evenings for you to go out and again, get involved in Dublin, eat, and do whatever other things you might like to do. So that's our plan. That's what we hope to do. Our goal was to pack it full of academic types of things, but also have enough time that you guys can go out and do some other fun things that you guys want to do and experience being in Ireland. Again, last time we went, the Irish people over there were fantastic. I absolutely loved them. They were incredibly helpful. And so I think it'll be a fun trip to get to be involved and visit and get to be involved with the Irish community. As far as application and everything, you apply through the Global Education website. And so here's a screenshot of that. You have to go in, you have to search and find it, but you'll eventually find the VT faculty-led application in kinesiology and sports science in Ireland. And it'll have a little bit of a description of the itinerary, that sort of thing, and a link to apply. What we have done is given priority to those that are either in or have had kinesiology and advanced kinesiology, as well as those who are in the sports medicine club and working with sports medicine. And then from there, we'll take others as we have room for those to take. Renee has put a link there to the application on Zoom. Or you can also contact either one of us. Certainly catch me after kinesiology class if you have some questions and whatnot. Or by email, or contact Renee by email. Okay. So that's all I've got. Just give you guys a little bit of an overview, a quick overview. Renee, do you have anything to add?
I do. So the only, with the flight, I will offer some options for group travel. I talked to the travel company actually yesterday. Group travel is a good way to go, but it will not be required. So I'll get together some costs. And I was looking at if there's a group that travels out of Roanoke, I'll get costs for that. But many students live in the DC area, so I will also get a cost from going out of Dulles. And then we'll send those out to the applicants and go from there.
So if you didn't hear that, Renee is going to look at some group travel options. Whether there's a group traveling out of Roanoke, sometimes there's group travel, we can get a little bit better rate on the flights and a little more convenient if you're traveling as a group. So out of Roanoke and also out of Dulles for those of you that are in the Northern Virginia area. So hopefully we can get the flight costs down as low as we can. So do you guys online have any questions that you guys I don't know that you're thinking about or anything like that? Just type them in, or you can turn your unmute yourself and chime in if you need to. Deadlines, application deadlines. Renee, you have those, and I'll repeat them so that we make sure everybody hears those deadlines.
So as it is right now, deadline would be November 1st. And let me make sure the Global Education website lists that. So our kind of the financial part, and that's what I'm going to talk more about, is there's a $300 deposit that's due November 1st. And then we bill half of the program fee. We bill it in November, it's due December 10th. And then we bill the other half of the program fee. We bill it in December and it's due in January. And that makes sure that we pay our invoices by the end of January, which is our deadline. sure we have some flexibility in that, but if we can think about November 1st as being, we'd like to have our group in place.
Okay, so just to repeat that in case you didn't hear it, I'm not sure how good the microphone is working. So a $300 deposit would be due when?
Remember, I'm going to type this into the chat as well.
Okay, so $300 deposit due November 1st.
Yeah.
And is that if you're accepted to go, you pay
Yes,
that? Or, okay, so
yes,
only if
yeah.
you're accepted. So if we have someone that applies that's non-HNFE student or something like that, and we don't have room for them, then they would not pay that $300 deposit. So $300 deposit due November 1st.
And then 1675
Okay.
would be billed and then to December 10th.
Okay, so half the fee, $1,675 would be due December 10th. And due January 10th.
Well, no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I bill it twice.
I'm sorry. Half of it's due December 10th. The remaining half would be due on January 10th.
Now, two things on financial parts. Financial aid and scholarships can cover some of these costs. Every year, both the Global Education Office and the college have study abroad scholarships that students don't apply for. So there's money out there to help support travel.
Don't apply for them.
Exactly.
Okay.
So there's
I'm sorry.
scholarships available and nobody applies for them.
Okay, so just
make sure that you do.
yes, to repeat that again, that needs to be repeated. The college has travel abroad scholarships available. There are not as many applicants as there is money available. So go do that. If you're interested and want to go on everything, then absolutely apply for that. We want to run out of applicants. No, we want them to run out of money before we run out of applicants.
Right.
So we want everybody to get as much money as they can to support their trip. Do you know how much those are?
Well, it depends how many students apply. So
Okay.
I have seen scholarships from $500 to $1,500, but we've also had students have scholarships cover their whole trip costs.
Okay.
Of like $7,000 for other programs.
Okay.
So it kind of depends on the students, what they apply for. But I would say around $1,000 is probably
Okay. So
really
what
feasible.
Renee's saying is it's feasible that by applying for that scholarship can cover around possibly $1,000 of your costs. Those scholarships, are they on the CAL's website?
Yeah, I'm going to put links to those.
Okay, Renee's going to put links on that in the chat, and I will also put some of these links when I upload the presentation. I'll try and put those links in the sort of the discussion part of that, the PowerPoint, whatever the Zoom presentation, the Zoom video. I'll try and put those in there as well. Okay. So that's good to know, Renee. I didn't know that. That's good to know.
So that one is Global Education Scholarships.
Right, so any questions from you guys out in the audience? So yeah, we're looking for, I think this is going to be fun. Renee and I had a blast when we were over there. I thoroughly enjoyed being in Ireland and some of the different, seeing some of the different sites and the people. Dublin is kind of a cool place. There's a lot of things going on there, a lot of old traditional things to see. There is the University City Dublin has the Book of Kells, which is one of the oldest illustrated books in the world. I will say some of these you have to make reservations far ahead of time, but we'll fill you guys in on that as we get a little bit closer to that. But nevertheless, a lot of places, shopping, that sort of thing. Grafton Street downtown is a place where they have a lot of the kind of famous for the buskers, and you can go sit out there and listen to different people sing and play instruments and that sort of thing. So anything else, Renee? Can you think of anything? Did I forget anything?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. All right.
I mean, once we start getting applications, then we start emailing with just information about scholarships.
Okay.
Or group travel or things like that. So we will.
Okay.
We use the application list.
So Renee said we will, as soon as we start getting applications, once we start getting those, we'll follow up those applications with information on group travel and scholarship links as well. But as far as scholarships, I guess getting those in earlier is always better than later. And so again, it depends on how many, Renee said, depends on how many people apply. So if you get in early, hopefully that there'll be some money available for you guys. All right. Anything else, Renee? All right. As I said, you can catch me after class. You can come by my office, email me, email Renee. Either one of us can answer whatever questions you have. And, hopefully we'll get a good group. And Renee and I know you guys. We know lots of you personally. And one of the reasons we're excited about it, because we know you guys personally and know that we're going to have a good group, a fun group to go over there and have a great time, both productive and also have a really good visit. All right. Well, I will stop there. And again, any questions, please let us know.